Mr. Tharman Shanmugaratnam, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Finance and Chairman, SINDA Board of Trustees. Ms. Indrani Raja, Member of Parliament for Tanjung Pagar GRC, President, SINDA Executive Committee. Mr. Raja Segar, CEO of SINDA. Members of the SINDA Board of Trustees and Executive Committee. Distinguished guests, award recipients, parents, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here this morning at the 22nd SINDA Excellence Award Ceremony. Today, we recognize and celebrate the achievements of outstanding Indian students in both the academic and non-academic areas. I would like to congratulate all the award recipients today on your achievements, not just in the academic field, but also in areas such as sports, arts, and music. Indeed, we all need to nurture and recognize different forms of talent. And I'm glad that SINDA is doing exactly this. And this is something that we see replicating itself across the board. And you will find in Singapore as well, the landscape is expanding in terms of creating space for students to realize their talent and their potential in many ways. Something that we should continue to support. Singapore, clearly, is a dynamic society. We have a dynamic workforce with locals and foreigners contributing to our society and economy. Our social landscape has changed and is changing and will continue to change, especially with globalization, where people move from one place to another, ideas flow almost freely from different countries to country. And the influx of foreigners and rapid technological advancements will have tremendous impact on our society. And what it means is that apart from the diversity, apart from the richness to which we can tap on, there's also increasing competition. As I often say, people are competing with us even if they're not here. And that's a reality that we can't turn the clock back on, and it's something we need to learn to embrace and learn to contend with. So we need to prepare our students for the changing socio-economic landscape so that the opportunities that are afforded to them, they can grab it with both their hands and to stand on their own 2 feet to provide for themselves and to provide for their families. That is ultimately what it is all about. Not just pursuing something for its own sake, but ultimately for our people and their well-being. So over the years, obviously the education system has evolved to create multiple pathways for success, and we should recognize the diverse abilities and interests of every student. And increasingly, this is being done. We should also at the same time reward and recognize excellence in all forms. Students, it does not matter where your strength lies. Because to be honest, in this room here today, many of us have different abilities. Do we expect all of us to have exactly the same ability? Do we expect every one of us to move along exactly the same path? The answer is no. Each of us will eventually find our watermark. The true mark of success, I think in many ways, is about realizing that potential. For our abilities, for our talent in particular areas, fulfill that to the best of our abilities and to move on and move up as the case may be. And importantly, as a system, is to provide the foundational pieces and the support so that each of us can fulfill that potential, regardless of our socio-economic status and background. So what matters most is that you choose to pursue something that you're passionate about. We also need to balance the practical needs, but it's a choice that all of us need to make. And importantly, like I said, is really to do it to the best of our ability. And everyone here can contribute to the continued success of the individual and our society at large. Each SINDA Excellence Award recipient has an interesting story to tell about his or her journey towards excellence and about the people who have made an impact on them. Let me highlight a few examples of students who have carved out a niche for themselves above and beyond the beaten path. Mr. Hargavan Singh is receiving 2 awards today for his outstanding achievements in the GCE A-level examinations as well as in rugby. Hargavan scored straight A's in his A-levels and is currently studying medicine in NUS. This is not the first time he is receiving the SINDA Excellence Award. In 2011, he received his first SINDA Excellence Award for his excellent results at O-levels, as well as for winning the National Colours Award in rugby. Hargavan is in the national rugby team and has represented Singapore in rugby tournaments, both locally and overseas. He hopes to become a surgeon and actively volunteers for community welfare and healthcare projects. Today, he's in Johor Bahru, representing Singapore at the Asian Rugby Football Union Tournament, and his father will be accepting the award on Hargavan's behalf later. Mr. Matthew Subramaniam is receiving the SINDA Excellence Award in recognition of his achievements in music. Matthew currently attends Eton College and has won several Eton College academic prizes and commendations for music. In 2011, Matthew became probably the first young Singaporean to perform as a vocal soloist on BBC Radio, in a live performance heard by over 3 million people in the United Kingdom and abroad. As a young ambassador for Singapore, Matthew has performed for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, and Kofi Annan, the former UN Secretary General. In November 2012, Matthew released You Fu Musing, a solo album which has raised $180,000 for the ComChess, the Singapore Symphony Orchestra Organ Restoration Fund, and for SINDA itself. Ms. Kugapriya is in Secondary 3 in the Singapore Sports School and is receiving the SINDA Excellence Award today for achievement in sports. She represented Singapore in the Asian Youth Games in August this year, as well as in other international competitions held overseas. She won the gold medal in the 200-meter race when she represented the school in the National School Track and Field this year. She has been awarded the National Colours Award twice and is a recipient of the Peter Lim Scholarship. Ms. Kugapriya has a supportive family and teachers who help her to balance both sports and studies. Given her love for both sports and science, it is not surprising that she aspires to pursue a polytechnic diploma in sports science. She wants to become a physiotherapist to help fellow sportsmen and to contribute to the field of sports medicine. I think importantly is that we all know that, as from the examples that we've shared today, is that many of us have many different interests. And I think that the key thing really is to live our life to the fullest and to pursue that. I will conclude by sharing a couple of points. One of the things you will find in many dialogues, as many of you might have participated and many of you would have views on the educational system, on what we should change and so on. But the two questions I often ask the audience: who is the most important teacher? Who is the most important teacher? Parents. Where is the best school in Singapore? And she's at home. Is it yours said it, not me? So the point is, and I think we all know that, but yet oftentimes we talk about the system at large. Somehow, where are we in the whole process? This is not to say that the system doesn't have a responsibility. I think there's a lot that we can do, and there are changes afoot, fundamental changes that we're looking at all times to look out for our individual students. But what I want to raise here today is, apart from recognizing amongst the many award winners here, the people behind it, the teachers, and particularly the family members. But I would like all of us to take away and perhaps just to reflect, what is our role in the overall scheme of things? My own personal sense is that in society today, I think children are exposed like never before. I think if we were to exaggerate perhaps, in the history of mankind, I don't think young people have ever been so exposed in their lives as a result of the internet, which is both positive and negative, depending on how you use it. The question is, where are we as parents in the overall scheme of things? Who is providing guidance? And as parents, we know that the easiest way to keep your child quiet is give him an iPad or Xbox and that's it, and they don't disturb you for the rest of the evening or rest of the week or year maybe. But where are we? We will shape the way they grow up. The way we talk, the way we act at home. I know, being Minister of Manpower, we are responsible for the foreign domestic worker scene as well. Many of us have domestic helpers at home. Well, our children are watching how we treat them every day. We can talk about values all we want. It's about how we live it on a day-to-day basis. So it's a thought that I will leave with you as we go forward and thinking about how we transform ourselves as a society, what kind of society we want to build. I think education plays a tremendous role in this. But I would suggest that as parents, we are probably the foremost educators, and I think we have a very big part to play. And I dare say that many of the award recipients today would owe much of their success and future success to the support and the love of the parents. And I hope that this will continue. And I believe that if all of us here actually walk the talk and actually do our part, society will transform. So with that, I think congratulations again to all our award winners. All of you have bright and exciting futures ahead of you. It's important to understand that success is not defined by just one particular path, but importantly, it's for each and every one of us to pursue our passions and to be successful in everything that we do and to the best of our abilities. With that, thank you very much.